Good evening, Drew.
Oh, you sound wonderful. How you feeling?
Uh, Better today.
Okay.
Still not 100%.
All right. So let's just come out swinging. Paul, what happened?
So if you remember, last episode I talked about how my wife got COVID, and I had to take my daughter to Wicked. In that time, well, actually, let's just tell you the whole story.
Yeah.
So after I recorded that podcast, I noticed that my throat was just like the slightest bit sore. And this was a Sunday night. But I didn't think too much of it because I had been talking a lot, and sometimes after the podcast my voice is a little strained anyway. So I just I'm just going to go to bed. That evening proceeded to be one of the worst nights of my life.
Oh no.
Just like my nose was so swollen shut that it caused a little minor panic attack. I had some of the worst chills I've ever had. It was just absolutely awful. Woke up that Monday morning, felt like pure shit, took a COVID test. If it might as well just have been glowing. It was so positive, right? So obviously I got COVID, as did both of my children.
Holy cow. So it was a clean sweep in the Baylor house. Yeah,
there was my daughter tested positive Monday as well. My son didn't test positive until Tuesday. My wife and daughter seemed to get it the least. I definitely seemed to have got it the worst of it. I think I was sick. When I texted you on Thursday, I was Monday through Thursday, my average going to bed time was 7:30.
Wow, I'm actually jealous.
Yeah. I would just go to bed. I did kind of start working again I work part of a day on Wednesday and then Thursday and Friday. But I was just absolutely drained. Walking up the stairs just made me short of breath. Today, I actually managed to mow the lawn. I'm feeling mostly good. It's just I'm still just a little bit tired, and I am incredibly full of mucus.
Ugh. Just
full of it. Yeah. So COVID sucks. I don't recommend it. It's not good, and I can't imagine what it would feel like if I wasn't already triple vaxxed. Because I was sick.
Well, I mean, so I told my lady friend that you weren't feeling well, and she had a couple questions.
Okay.
How long do you sort of have to isolate now? Is there guidance around that still or no?
Okay, there is. Hold on, let's see if I can find it, because there's actually a really neat. Let's see if I can find this little bad boy. The CDC has this little wizard. So if you go to this page, and then there's this get started button right on the top. It asks you a bunch of questions hey, did you test positive? Just have close contact? When was your first date? Did you have a fever? And then it kind of gives you when it recommends that hey, you can go back out in the world on this date. It would recommend that you wear a tight-fitting mask until this date. So yeah, I think it's around 10 days, I think is roughly what it comes down to. But let's see, when did I start getting
That's what
symptoms?
she said 10 days. So good for her. She knows more about this than me.
Yeah.
The interesting thing here is, and again, gonna sort of wrap my knuckles against my wooden desk, is that I don't think officially I ever got it. I think that I had mild symptoms with it because around Thanksgiving time, not this past year, but the year before, I just couldn't stop pooping. And I don't know, I never I never took a test. And then a lot of people around me have had it and have had it much, much worse than me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, man. Like I've never really officially had it, and I never got boosted either. That's the other weird thing. I was supposed to go get boosted, and then I had to cancel for some reason. Oh, I know what it was. I got sick. I got sick with something else when I was supposed to go get my booster, and I canceled it. I never rescheduled it because I canceled it out of fear that it was COVID, but it wasn't. Now it's all coming back to me. So I'm not triple vaxxed. I don't have the big trip, as we're calling it.
The big trip. I like
big
it.
Trip. So no, I don't have that. Okay. Now how the kids doing? Are they all bounced back, or
the kids are doing okay. They're at the point now where like the worst of it is over, and they're just waiting for all the symptoms to kind of fade. Yeah, it sucks. I do not recommend. COVID is still a real thing. It's still out there.
Oh, it absolutely is.
I mean, the timing is just funny because, like we literally, I had 3 people in my house, my wife and my 2 kids, going to a public school, 3 different public schools, really, every 5 days out of a week for the entire school year. And it wasn't until like literally the last day of my wife's school that we all get I mean, she got sick first, so we still assume that she was the one that got it and gave it to the rest of us. But we don't hold that against her. I mean, it's just the timing of it was just almost a little funny, really. Like, yeah.
Now I'm assuming that she is like fully recovered, and now she has become the caretaker of all 3 of you.
Yeah, even like like that Sunday, she kind of just hid off by herself in the bedroom, and I kind of took care of things. And then Monday and Tuesday were a little rough as we were all kind of feeling poor.
Yeah,
the house just like nobody cared, right? It's just like feed yourself when you're hungry.
Gushers for dinner.
Like just don't die. Daddy's gonna go lay down. But yeah, she did a great job after she started feeling better, kind of taking care of the rest of us. And I mean, in a strange way, it was kind of a relief when Zachary tested positive, because that meant we didn't have if everybody's sick, there's no reason for any of us to hide in separate rooms now.
Yes, come and be who you are.
Yep. We can all sit on the couch and watch TV. This is great.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. I'm sorry. That sucks.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Oh,
it didn't interfere with like any of your plans to do anything. I don't think you had anything going on.
No, it didn't affect any of our plans. Like, I'm glad this happened now and not like a month from now when we're trying to go to Disney.
Right.
It's done. We got it all out of our system. We hope we'll eventually get it out of our system. I'm still just full of mucus, full of it.
So final question then. Mm-hmm. What sort of medicine, if any, were you taking to sort of like feel I mean, was it mostly just like Tylenol / Advil to sort of like help you not feel pain?
What do you do? The doctors recommended Tylenol. I tried both Advil and Tylenol. Advil did nothing. Tylenol was it worked so well. Like, it actually almost made you feel human for a few hours. You still felt like shit, but it was just Tylenol.
But they don't give you any kind of like, they don't tell you to take like a decongestant or anything to like.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Help clear some of that mucus out.
Nope.
Woof.
I may start taking some Mucinex just to help just get the rest of the stuff out of me. But yeah, I think I have some in the medicine cabinet.
Okay. Well, buddy, I'm glad that I'm glad that you're sort of on the mend.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I was like, when you told me that Jennifer had it and you had to take your daughter to go see Wicked and everything, I'm like, boy, it would really suck if everybody there got COVID. And
yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I don't know whether if I would have tested positive or not, but I'm pretty sure it was already in me at that time. And if anybody's listening who sat around me in the Wicked show and you're now sick, I am really, really sorry about that. Oops.
Uh-oh. Oh man. Okay. Well, that actually segues pretty nice into this next topic because I had a little health scare of my own.
Okay. What happened, Drew?
Okay. So, man, I swear, I just would love 1 week. I would love for 1 week to go by where I didn't have just some kind of like turmoil. Okay. So here's what happened. Last weekend I was out mowing the yard, as one does.
Okay.
And it had been raining like the week before last. Like we had a lot of days where it rained like really heavily. And I went out to mow the yard, and I mowed the front of the yard, no problem. I got to the back of the house, was mowing, and as I sort of got lower in my yard, I noticed that there was one giant, like huge puddle in my yard. And at first I was like, yeah, rain will do that. Maybe I have like some bad drainage over here or something. But then I realized that the epicenter of the said puddle was one of my irrigation control boxes.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I finished mowing. Well, first of all, I couldn't mow like around this box because it was so mushy. Like the wheels of the lawnmower would have sank like sort of into the muck and like tore up my yard and everything. So I kind of mowed around it, finished mowing. And then I went and I got my tools and I opened up the top of the control box. And these boxes, right, like they, like if you were to sort of look at one, I don't know if you've ever seen one, but they are like these circular, they're like these circular covers that are in your yard. There is like this little hole that they sort of drill down about 1.5-ish. And inside of there are the control valves for different zones of your irrigation system. So like in my backyard, I have, I don't know, sort of in that section of my yard, there's 2 control boxes. Each are controlling a certain number of zones. So the little, like the main irrigation system sort of sends the electrical signal to these valves, which open and close, and then directs water to the thing. Okay. Generally, those are supposed to be dry. Now, if it rains heavily or there's a problem with your control valve or something wrong inside of there, that will fill up with water. So they're not generally supposed to have water in them. Okay. So I opened the cover of it. I'm like, okay, this doesn't look good. And I thought maybe something in there was like clogged or, you know, maybe it would be something obvious. So I sort of sat there and I looked at the problem and I thought to myself, I need to get that water out of there. So I said, I've seen MacGyver before. So
okay.
So let me just pose the question to you, Paul. You've got a hole in your yard.
Okay.
That's about 1.5 deep.
1.5 deep.
The diameter of said hole is probably 10 inches.
Okay.
How are you getting that water out of there?
Maybe like a siphon?
Okay, great. We're on the same page.
Okay.
We're on the same page. Siphon.
Okay. Siphon. Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but one time I tried to liquid cool my computer, and I have
I do. I'm aware.
I have a bunch of clear tubing in my house still. So I went downstairs. Yeah, I thought to myself, science. So I went down and I got some of my clear tubing, and I put one end in the muck. Because, like, first of all, this is muddy water. Let's just be 100% clear. It looked like diarrhea water. And I put one end of the hose in there, and then I proceeded to suck. So I started to like, and like I see the brown water coming up the clear tubing, and I'm like, uh-oh. Like, I don't want all of this in my mouth. God, there's so many good titles happening right now. And then like it started to get up near where my mouth was, and the water touched my lips, and immediately I had a panic attack because I'm like, what sort of diseases? So like I start spitting.
What am I doing to myself?
Yeah, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I start spitting. I got gargled with like hydrogen peroxide and everything. And then for the next 28 hours, I was convinced that I had a brain-eating amoeba. But spoiler alert, I didn't.
Okay.
And that's not how you catch those things. Just so we're clear, I did a lot of research. Because, like, I mean, you know, it's standing dirty water. It's probably not full of things that are good for humans. But I did manage to get all of that water out with a combination of the siphon / like an old Solo cup where I just sort of bailed the water out. And sure enough, like one of the control valves in there was like seeping the tiniest amount of water. So the irrigation people came out and they did their equivalent of, did you try rebooting? And that was, they took it apart, cleaned it and put it back together to see if it was like stuck open with like some sediment or something. But they ended up having to replace most of the components in there. But I look back on the whole experience and I'm like, one, why did I think it was a good idea to try to siphon this water out of this hole when I could have just bailed the water out of this hole? And two, I don't know why my brain immediately went to, oh my God, now you have a brain-eating amoeba.
That's the logical place to go, I think.
Yeah. Well, I just remember, like, as I was doing this, I just remembered all the stories of kids that would like swim in ponds and get brain-eating amoebas, and I'm like, did I just amoeba myself? And
am I an amoeba now?
Am I the amoeba? But water has to like be forced up it has to like enter through your nasal cavity. So if you don't take anything else away from this podcast, just don't put the dirty water up your nose, and you'll be fine. It can get in your mouth, and you'll be fine. So anyway, they ended up replacing some of the components and everything, and it was truly leaking, which is not great. But yeah, it's all taken care of now. But just one more thing to spend money on, as it turns out.
As it turns out, there's always something.
There is always something. And speaking of things to spend money on,
Dub.
Yeah, man, I did not watch it live.
I was sick, so I had plenty of time on my hands, so I did.
Okay, so you're like I caught the highlights. I just know that there are a lot of things that I want to spend money on here.
Okay.
So let's just sort of go in order. Big announcement was now we have M2 Max.
Yes.
All right, so I am not a mathematician.
Okay.
But I know that 2 is more than 1.
2 is more than 1.
Yep. So apparently this is an improved version of the Apple Silicon, which is what I've sort of been waiting for. Not that I didn't think the M1 was good, but you know, now they have sufficiently leaned into this, and it seems like this is better all the way around. So give me the highlights. Like what's going to be very good about the M2 other than just more?
I mean, there's really not that many changes. I mean, it's faster. Oh, I should have done my homework. Let's see if there's anyone who gives me a summary. What are they claiming? 25% more cores and 25% more performance.
Right.
It's a little bit of a bigger chip. It's got more transistors on there. Whether to say, just pure CPU performance, they're saying 18% better. The GPU is like 25 to 35% faster. It now supports up to 24 gigabytes of RAM. Still only one external display officially, even though I've heard that you can do more than one on the M1s if you're smart. Obviously, like there'll be M2 probably. I mean, I imagine there'll be M2 Pros and Maxes, which go even higher. But like this is their kind of low end baseline chip. It's just continual improvement over the same. Right? These are extremely powerful, extremely powerful and power efficient chips. And I kind of want one.
I very much want one. So I mean that was obviously the very big announcement from the conference, but and this is the but.
Okay.
The new MacBook Air.
Oh
my God, that blue MacBook Air. It's almost like they made this for me.
So it's officially called Midnight. It's a bluish black. Now, I don't know. Have you read or watched any of the people who had hands on with it?
I have not.
There is one downside to the Midnight.
Uh-oh.
Apparently, it is a thumbprint magnet.
Yeah, that probably tracks. That probably tracks.
I watched people describing like every time after someone would touch it before the next person would do, they had someone with like a cleaning cloth cleaning the whole thing off to polish it. Like apparently you could see the thumbprints from across the room. That is the only. Now, granted, it is an absolute beautiful color, though. I still have the problem that to me, Macs are silver. All Macs should be silver. What is this notion of colors? I don't space gray. No, Macs are silver. But yeah, that Midnight does look really good.
God, it looks so good.
I think if I bought one, I probably would just buy a silver one because
I mean, I would do space gray, but I don't want you to yell at me.
Silver.
God, it looks good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it looks so powerful. Like it would be like that to me would be the perfect, I think, work computer for me. I really truly believe that. I mean, other than it being a little bit smaller, right? It's just a little bit on the smaller side.
Yeah, I mean, I have the M1 MacBook Air from work. And yeah, it's a little bit smaller than it's 3 inches smaller, in fact, than my personal 16-inch, crufty Intel MacBook Pro. Basically throw you in the garbage. But I guess the screen's a little bigger because now it's like 13.3 because they pushed out the bezels a bunch.
Yeah.
13.6, excuse me, 13.6.
Well, I owned the original MacBook Air when it came out. My wife, I believe, has a MacBook Air for work, and it's always had like that goofy form factor, right? Where it's almost like teardrop, where it's not
they're
square.
Tapered. Yeah, they're tapered.
Yeah, and I could take or leave that look, but I mean, it was very thin. It's very light, and like for what she does with it, right, which is educate people and do angry emails from parents and things.
Yeah.
And administration, like it's perfect. For me these days, I don't know. Like I do surprise, surprise, I do most of my work at the cloud these days. So
you don't say.
Yeah, so I don't really do much local. I have not run a VM on my Mac in years now. But okay, so here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when they announced these MacBook Airs, as one does, I went to the website and I went to the new MacBook Air with the M2, and you go to view pricing, and I didn't pick the most expensive one. I just picked the 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU.
Okay.
The question I have, though, is how much memory do you actually need with these things?
So
that seems to be, for me, the biggest deciding factor in how much money I want to spend, because I am probably going to get one of these things. I know that I need more than 256 gigs of storage, but I don't know if I need more than 8 gigs of RAM.
So I would recommend getting 16, even doing basic work stuff where I have Outlook and Teams and I have a couple of web browsers and something else open. I can get above 8 gigs of memory usage just doing that. Now, granted, the storage is really fast, so it's going to page everything in and out. But to me, if you're serious about a Mac, really 16 is the base.
Yep.
Though I think if I'm going to do this one, I'm just going to get the 24 because 24 is more than 16. I don't know why. I just want 24 gigs of RAM. 24. It's such an unusual number. 24.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, right? I feel like with this new architecture, like a lot of those old sort of paradigms about just how much storage you need sort of goes out the window a little bit, because I don't know I don't know how effectively this thing kind of moves things in and out of memory. Like, I'm certainly not running SQL Server locally. I'm not running containers. Like, I'm not going to be doing a lot of the things that I do on my Mac today. I don't even know how much development I'm going to be able to do on it, right? So,
I mean, it depends on what you're doing. Like a lot of the, that traditional kind of Unixy tool chain has all been ported over already. And even if not, you can still run Intel command line tools through Rosetta with, obviously there's a little performance hit, but all that stuff's totally still possible. And now with the next version of Mac OS, it'll allow you to use Intel Linux binaries in a Linux VM through Rosetta. So, I mean, that'll be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would still just do 16 gigs of RAM and whatever storage you need to get by. Like, I've already priced mine out, 24 gigs of RAM, terabyte of storage,
Wow.
That's what I have now. I'm currently under 512, but I have been over 512. I kind of bounce back and forth with stuff. I like having the option because you can't put more storage in these things after the fact.
Correct.
So, and still, it's only like $2,099
only.
So only. I mean, dude, my last. The MacBook I'm looking at right now was like twice that. So
yeah, I mean, that's just it, right? So I mean, I could get this or the MacBook Pro.
The new 13-inch?
Yeah.
Please don't buy that one.
Why?
Okay, so the 13-inch MacBook Pro is the last basically it's the last holdout of the previous design, right? So it's got the big, thick bezels. It's got a touch bar still. It doesn't have like the new keyboard. It doesn't have the new displays. I honestly do not know why this computer exists. I don't think anybody should buy this computer, let alone the fact that they said this is the second most popular Mac in the lineup. The first one being the MacBook Air. I don't think this Mac should exist. I don't think anybody should buy this Mac.
I'm having a hard time with that one too, right? Only because one, it starts where the MacBook Air sort of tops out, right? 8 core, 10 core. Mm-hmm. And when you look at some of the different pricing options for it, it is not much different. It really isn't. I mean, unless you want the bigger form factor, I guess, or a touch bar.
Yeah, like I really think that if you're thinking about the 13-inch, you need to have the 13-inch MacBook Pro. You should probably either buy the Air or the new 14-inch. I know the 14-inch still just has the M1, but it has like the M1. What is it? The M1 Pro. Which is more cores and stuff. Like I just can't recommend the 13-inch to anybody. I just don't think it's especially now. Like if they updated their design of it and maybe got rid of the touch bar and maybe pushed out the bezels a bit, maybe. But it's what my MacBook Pro looks like. It's the old style. It's not redesigned.
Yeah. Okay. You got me.
Yeah. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't.
God, it does look good though. I'm so due.
That Air. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. A couple other quick hit things here that I found was very interesting. The next thing sort of to talk about is, Mac OS Ventura. And all the little things they're going to let us do. Top of my list is the ability to edit an iMessage.
Yeah. That's in iOS 16, God. Ventura, iPad OS 16. Yeah. Edit and delete an iMessage, both up to 15 minutes after you send them, I think.
Yeah.
Unless the person you're messaging isn't running the latest version, and then it won't be edited there, I guess. Everyone has to be running the latest version for it to work seamlessly, I think. But
I guess I don't really see that being a problem. I mean,
No,
Apple makes it pretty easy to keep your shit up to date.
Yeah. Improvements to Mail. I still use Mail.app for a lot of stuff. I don't know what else. Stage Manager.
Yeah, talk to me about Stage Manager.
So in the keynote, while they were talking about the Mac, they introduced a new window management style called Stage Manager.
Okay. And
basically what it allows you to do is you can kind of put your applications together in essentially like piles. So say like I want Safari and Notes, and I want, a text editor and a terminal. And excuse me, hold on.
Oh yeah, let it rip, bud.
I have been, but I've been using my mute button a little better than that.
Get that devil out of you.
Oh, so I'm just fully evil. Oh. So it basically allows you to kind of group applications together. It lists all of these different piles of apps kind of on the left side, and then you can switch between them. I mean, it's hard to explain, but if you look at a picture, you get it, right? Like,
so I saw it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's my question, and I think if it doesn't do this, this is a huge missed opportunity, at least for Drew Fergewell's workflow. So, at any given time, I probably have 10 to 20 browser tabs open. Okay, mm-hmm. And well, let me go one step further than that, right? Safari on my Mac is for me. That's where I have like my personal email and anything else that I'm sort of personally browsing. And then Edge is what I use for work. So Edge
same.
Yeah. Yep. So Edge is what I have open for, anything I'm doing for work, whether it's research or GitHub stuff or anything like that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now with this Stage Manager, let's say that I'm working on some bash scripting. I would love it if I could use Stage Manager to group not just Edge, but certain Edge windows. Like, let's say I have more than one instance of Edge running. Would it be possible to break instances of Edge out?
I think so.
Okay.
I need to figure that out myself because I'm in the same boat where I would like to have different like windows of the same application and different Stage Manager piles, but.
Yeah. So like I could have like one pile for like project 1 and then pile for project 2, and they probably both have similar applications, right? Like maybe it is a series of open emails and browser tabs and iTerm, right? Like that would be, to me, if it does that, game change, because now I can keep everything organized.
The big thing for me in that scenario, especially at work, is Bear, my note-taking app.
Oh yeah.
So I would like to have different Bear windows be parts of different things because I'm working on them. Mm-hmm. I'm super excited to try it out.
Did you download the beta?
I have not. No. I am being strong. I am being strong, Drew. Strong.
Okay, you're strong. You're a strong man.
I am not installing betas of anything on any of my devices until I get back from Disney.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe this was new, Paul, where we're going to do any more betas ever again.
No. I just don't want to be running a beta of anything and
trying to travel.
Be in a case where I really need my devices to work reliably all the time.
Especially with how much work you've put into this. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, like I don't want to take the chance of like, oh, I can't do this today because iOS 16's buggy.
Okay.
Sorry, kids.
Wow.
So no betas on anything for me. But looking at Stage Manager for the Mac, you're like, I bet you this is really for the iPad. And sure enough, if you have an M1 powered iPad, which I do, you can use Stage Manager on the iPad. And that looks real cool. Excuse me, the devil's back.
Yeah, and take care of that devil.
Oh.
Man, buddy.
Oh.
All right. Next feed. It's okay, buddy. I just leave all this in. This is all good. This is the show.
No one wants to hear me cough.
No, this is the show. This is what they're here for. Everything. Okay. Finally. The other big change that I'm personally juiced about is widgets on the lock screen of our devices.
I am too. Like, it looks really cool. Like the lock screen, you can like customize like the font and the style and the color of the text. You can put little widgets. They look kind of very like WatchOS inspired, kind of more like complication than widgets.
Well, here's the interesting thing.
But
Apple, first of all, Apple finally did a thing that I don't think they were ever going to do, because listening to other podcasts that you and I both listen to, the thought here is that people didn't want to put things on their lock screen because that's where they had a picture of their loved one or their pet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So they didn't want to clutter it up, but they have since sort of changed their tune on that. They are now allowing us to put widgets on our lock screen. Mm-hmm. However, while they do give us a modicum of customization in terms of font and color, what I found interesting is that the widgets themselves are not multicolor.
That's yeah.
They are monochromatic, really, when you think about it.
And you know why that is, Drew?
No, I don't actually.
So the working theory, and it's been kind of proven in like diving into the code, is the next iPhone will have an always on display.
Aha. Okay.
And that kind of color scheme is based on that, because they'll be able to display those widgets kind of dimly without drawing too much power, like they do on the watch. How, like, I don't know if you have a always on display on your watch.
No.
But like when you're looking at the watch, everything's bright and full color. But when it's, you're not looking at it and it's kind of away, it kind of dims and simplifies. It kind of reduces the brightness. It reduces the amount of color. It turns off like all the animations and stuff. I thought I was gonna get through that sentence without coughing.
Oh, it's okay, buddy.
Oh, so I think that the iPhone 14 is going to have an always on display. Or maybe at least the Pros will.
Do they? Man, that's the other thing too. Is like my iDevices right now, with the exception of the iPad that I bought not too long ago. My personal iDevices are a little long in the tooth. Like my work phone, this poor thing, like it when it vibrates, it sort of does this weird, like really sad vibration where something I think the clinical term is it ain't right, where it doesn't vibrate the way it used to. And try as it might, it is really struggling to render anything in Outlook these days. So like honestly, that device right now anyway is really a glorified authenticator app, because that's what 90% of the time that is what it's used for. If I am in a different part of a house and I need to check my Teams messages or work calendar, I use it for that. But very rarely do I take Teams calls on it, because I take them on my computer. But it is what I use. It is what I use that for. My iPhone Pro, which one do I even have? I couldn't even tell you, because I know there have been ones that have come out after this. Let's see. iPhone 12 Pro is what I have.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that is what, one generation behind?
It is. 'Cause the 13s are the current ones you can buy now. Yeah.
Right. So I'm hoping this fall they do the 14, and I will probably bite the bullet and upgrade. I don't know what I would replace my work phone with, though, because I feel like my wife's, like, her phone plus my work phone are the same generation, and it is the what is it? The XR? Is that what it's called?
Oh, okay. Yep.
Let me see.
That was the one after the X, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is the iPhone XR. So like those are going to need replaced. Like she's going to need a new one, and I'm going to need some sort of device to like control, like something that has a. First of all, my work device has to have a phone number. Like it can't just be like it can't be like an old phone that I deactivate. Like it actually has to have a phone number for reasons.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so I'm gonna have to like get that replaced. I don't know what I would replace it with, though. I mean, do they still have a low cost option? Low cost. Listen to me.
I mean, what is their story right now? Hold on. Let's see. If I go to iPhone,
they have the SE.
They're still selling the SE, which still has the Touch ID. That's their cheapest one. And I guess they still sell the 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would probably do the SE. I mean, because it doesn't have to do much.
Yeah.
As long as it sort of does. I mean, I guess we'll see what they release, right? I mean, we're coming up on the time of year where I think they will start to announce that for release in the fall, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's coming up. So
usually the iPhone event is usually in September? When is
that's going to be here before we know it?
Phone event. Usually, come on, Google. You know what I mean. September. Yeah, September with launches in October. So, yeah, sooner than you think. Oh.
Yeah. So I'm gonna wait and see what they do there. But regardless, like I'm super juiced about widgets on my lock screen.
I am too.
I know that a lot of people who are not necessarily pro Android, but are more like anti-Apple, seem to think that is something that makes their devices superior, because they could have cool Tony Stark things on their lock screen. I don't know.
But gross.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a special kind of people. They're a special kind of people. Yeah, I'm juiced. So to recap all the Mac stuff then, right? All good stuff.
All good stuff.
Except for the curious case of the Pro 13, which you've now convinced me that I don't need.
Don't get it.
So here's the question. Have you ordered yours yet?
They're not on sale yet.
I know, that's the thing, right? Like I can't order these even if I wanted to right now.
Yeah.
But when they go on sale, are you going to get one?
Probably. I think so. They're supposed to come out in July at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking yes. I'm thinking yeah. I think I am going to get one. I'm not sure, Drew, but if you ask me, yes, I think I am.
I'm like 99% sure. Of course, I said that about the last MacBook Pros that we talked about too, and I never pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of glad that I didn't, because had I spent the money on that, I probably would have been pissed that this M2 came out. So I'm sort of glad that I didn't buy when I did. Yeah, I'm due, and I feel like, hopefully, knock on wood again, that by July, like I've had some other expenses, like house related and like personal, like other personal expenses that I've had to sort of pay for a bit, and I'm hoping that some of those things, and I'm about to
die down.
Yeah, some of that stuff dies down a little bit, and I can like just chill. And like we're getting to our end of year time where I work, so we'll get a feel for like what sort of like rewards and things are going to be coming down the line here soon. So it'll be interesting. And I would like to take some portion of that money and buy a new computer, because this MacBook Pro, I bought this when I was still working with you, right? So it's pretty old, right? So I mean, God bless it, it still chugs along. Battery life is still good. Like I had it in Israel and everything, and like the battery life was fine. It still performs. I'm on it every day. My problems with that computer are not hardware related. They are all buggy ports of certain applications that I use that I don't want to say out loud.
Okay.
But it still works. And that's the other thing too, right? Like if I were to buy this MacBook Air, it is a considerably less expensive option than the MacBook Pro. I wouldn't necessarily have to go down the trade-in route, but I could sell it if I wanted to, right?
True.
So, and honestly,
and the Airs, they're crazy light, and they don't have a fan, Drew.
I know.
No fan.
None. Yeah.
Like I still can't. Like, I mean, it's I still go back and forth between my M1 from work and my 2019 Intel MacBook Pro. And the MacBook Air, no matter what I do, is completely silent all the time, always cool to the touch. My Intel MacBook Pro, I can hear the fans running on it right now. And if I touch the bottom of it, it's just a little bit warm. It's just a huge difference to have a computer that is, I'll be all honest, faster than the Intel and completely silent and completely cool all the time. Like, it blows my mind.
So last question then, right? Because I've always wondered about this too. Is I remember when the original MacBook Airs came out, the resolution of the screen was not super great. It wasn't. I don't think it was Retina. First of all, how's the resolution these days? Like, is you still get pretty good screen real estate?
Yeah, like they're all Retinas now. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any complaints with it. I think the new ones. Let's see. Do they have a tech spec page up yet? They sure do. The displays, they're 2560 by 1664 at native resolution. To 224 pixels per inch, 500 nits of brightness. It doesn't have the high definition or the high contrast displays like on the Pros, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
There we go. Much better. And MagSafe's back. MagSafe is back, baby.
Yeah, I know. That's the other cool thing too.
I want one of these. It makes having the only two ports. Granted, there's only 2 ports on them, only 2 Thunderbolt ports. But having the MagSafe makes those 2 ports, I think, more useful. So, though mine will always be plugged into a Thunderbolt dock and charging through that way. So,
right.
But that's fine. That's fine.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to buy one of these things.
I think I am too. I think this is going to be my next computer. I just got to decide what color. It's between the silver and midnight. There is no other choice.
I know. I mean, I already keep a rag in my bag now to sort of wipe mine off. I mean, the space gray doesn't show smudges and things that bad, but I don't know. I mean, it gets gross.
I am afraid that midnight's going to be like the one that everybody wants. And it's going to sell out quick where I could probably walk in and buy a silver like the next day. And still get it on release day.
Yeah,
it's what's going to happen to it. It's going to release while I'm at Disney, and I won't be able to buy one right away. But
well, if you need someone to get you one, let me know.
Yeah, maybe if
I know you're good for it.
Maybe if I'm on Disney and I miss the news, maybe you should send me a text saying, "Hey, they go on sale tomorrow." So I can always, when I'm sitting in line, I can always
done deal, pal. Yep. Done deal.
Yeah.
All right. Any more Apple talk before we sort of dive into these last 2?
No, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Apple cool. Quick update. I watched a pretty cool show on Apple TV called Slow Horses.
I've only heard people say that name on podcasts. I know nothing about this show, Drew.
Yeah. So I was attracted to it because it stars Gary Oldman. I could not tell you anybody else that is in the show. I think they are all reputable British actors.
It's an Apple TV, isn't it?
It is on Apple TV.
Apple TV Plus.
Slow Horses. The premise of the show is that these individuals all work for MI5, which, for all intent and purpose, is Britain's sort of, it's basically their FBI. Let's put it that way. And they all work in sort of the screw up division.
The screw up division?
Yeah, everybody that is a part of this particular unit called Slough House, which is like a it's sort of like a satellite location of MI5 in London, and all of these people are there because they made some sort of mistake in their career.
Got it. Okay.
The show goes much more deeper than that. There is sort of a central plot, but I mean, I'm a big Gary Oldman fan.
Yeah.
And he is in the show. He sort of plays like the leader of these misfits. And first of all, he just does an incredible job. I don't think I've ever seen anything that I do not like him in. I just really like him as an actor. And it is going to get a second season.
Nice.
Which is also going, and they actually showed clips of the second season, so it looks like they've already recorded it. So like at the end of season 1, they show you they give you like a teaser of season 2 and what it's going to be about. Kristen Scott Thomas, she's also in it. She's been in other stuff that I like, but she sort of plays like a snooty like MI5 person. But anyway, if you have Apple TV and you are in a place where you are looking for something new to watch, I give this a big enthusiastic thumbs up. While I am pretty good at sort of picking up British slang and the way British people talk, you may want to watch it with subtitles.
Got it.
Yep, because some of the accents are a little thick. And I watched half of the show in my living room, where I have like my Sonos soundbar and everything, and the other half in bed on my iPad. And this was the perfect show to watch on my iPad with Apple TV. I love being able to do that. Being able to turn subtitles on and off pretty easily and just watch it in bed with my AirPods, like it was so good. And here's the thing too, right? Is that what was really jarring to me, personally anyway, is Gary Oldman was in a movie called Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. It came out years ago, and it was an adaptation of a John le Carre novel. And it tells the story of like an internal mole hunt in the British Foreign Intelligence Service in the 1970s. And he plays like a spy master in that. Completely different character. Is not related at all. But when I first saw the advertisement for it, I thought for sure it was going to be an extension of that universe. It is not, and that's okay. It is a completely separate like thing, and it actually tells a pretty cool story. If you're looking for stuff to watch, Paul, you could definitely do worse than this. So just a quick shout out for that. I really enjoyed watching that.
Well, I've also been watching a really great show. It's a little show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So.
Yeah, I was wondering, you're still working through that, right?
It's going slow.
Why?
Well, only because I usually watch maybe about a third of an episode a day, because I'm usually doing it like while I'm eating, and then like I watch 20 minutes and I get guilty and I go back to work. But I just finished season 3, which I think is the best season. And I am now starting season 4, which I think is the worst season. But it also is when I'm doing the Buffy and Angel watch through. So I actually watched my first episode of, I watched my first episode of this watch through of Angel today. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. Last thing, and this literally just happened today. Fan of the show, Greg Dodd, created a handy website for those people wondering if sorbet is ice cream or not. So if you're near a web browser, go to what was the URL?
Sorbet is not icecream.com.
Yeah, sorbet is not icecream.com.
I'm extremely jealous of Greg that he thought to buy this and not me. Because this is exactly the kind of domain I would have bought. And he did this cute little thing with Giphy. I don't know if he's like, yeah.
It's basically it's like a random Giphy that is tagged with the word no.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you go to the website, you can keep clicking through and get some funny GIFs, and you can see what's happening. So, tip of the hat to Greg. Thank you. I will have you know that I did have some watermelon sorbet earlier this evening, and it was wonderful. So.
And let's go back to the judges again. Any change? No, still not ice cream.
No, website says it's not ice cream, so I guess that is settled law.
Yeah, it's not
settled law.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to keep you because I know that you need to go get that devil out of you. So what do you say we wrap?
God damn it!
Leave this. This is all staying in. By the way, I'm making the decision this is a co-parenting situation of this podcast, and we are leaving all that in.
All right. If I can get my breath here. Here we go. Hey, we're on the internet, doingthebest.com. You can find us on Twitter at doingbestpod. I'm on Twitter at Paul Baylor. Where can we find you, Drew?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Pittsburgh, PITTFURG. And I do have just one last thing that I need to touch on before we leave.
Okay.
I was reprimanded by a listener of our show that I talked about a certain brunch wedding. So I have I have prepared a statement that I would like to read.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It has come to my attention that my comments regarding a certain individual's brunch wedding were not viewed favorably by other people's weddings that I have attended in the past year. I'm deeply sorry for this. I would like everyone to know that I value everybody's weddings equally, and that while I had a significantly fun time eating chicken and waffles as hors d'oeuvres at this wedding, I also had other delicious hors d'oeuvres at this other wedding. And that I want everybody to know that I love them very much, and I want to ask for forgiveness for not mentioning other people's weddings on this podcast as much as I've mentioned the other weddings on this podcast. I will not be taking questions at this time, and I ask that you respect my decision. Thank you.
That's something else true. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Take care.